Like many people, I suppose I grew up with a picture of God because we, as human beings, we live in a physical, concrete world where we like to have tangible things around us that we can relate to. And so we find it helpful very often to imagine what is unimaginable. So the old man with a big beard sitting on a cloud, it's a very childish image. But I suppose I'd be dishonest if I didn't say that deep inside somewhere that's still somewhere, there's still something that, in a sense, I relate to. But having said that, I recognise that is a childish way to think about God, because God is completely other than us. He doesn't make himself known to us in the same way that other human beings do. We can only know him through how he chooses to reveal himself to us. So to the extent that as a human being we can relate to Jesus, and we relate to human beings much more easily than we do to abstract ideas. So we see in Jesus, the closest thing that we have to a representation of God himself. So can we know God directly? I think through things such as prayer and meditation, yes. Those are reflections of the character of God. So, yeah, we can know about God, and to some extent we can know God too. God is definitely a higher being. However, that's not to say that we can't talk about God in personal terms, because Christian belief, and I speak for myself rather than necessarily the whole of the Christian church, is as God as a personal being whom we can know and who knows us. We can't know him in the same way that we know other human beings. Obviously, he is other and different, but he makes himself known, reveals himself, as we say. I would want to say, as somebody who believes that God is a personal God who interacts with us, he reveals himself to us. I think that God is objective as well as being purely subjective. It is encouraging to people of faith to see sparks of spirituality in people who would proclaim no faith, because it means actually probably not that far apart. My faith is an expression of my spirituality. There is a danger that we can make it too individualistic, and rather than seeing ourselves as being part of a wider body that has wisdom to impart to us. That's when the interpretation comes in, and within Christianity, and I think we see this equally in other faiths as well, there are any number of branches within those faiths, which comes down to this issue of interpretation. So to that extent, it is all things for all people.